So, as I said, I definitely want to break down each of my go-to patterns for growing small accounts, and we can break them down. I want to go into advanced detail about them, talk about them individually. Each day, we will talk about a different pattern for about the next week and a half straight, and give you guys some good examples, get you guys ready, set to rock and roll for the upcoming days. As I said, I'm going back to a small account most likely next week, starting with around $4,000. So it's great to kind of freshen up on my patterns as well, along with giving you guys great detail. So what I want to go into today, guys, is actually a pattern we already saw today. One of my favorite patterns. It gets me giddy like some butterflies in my stomach. It's so good that it usually 99% of the time will lead to a nice breakout, and that's why I love it. And what that is, guys, is the ascending triangle breakout pattern. This is a well-known breakout pattern. It's not like it's just, only Dekmar trades use it, but it's one of my go-to breakout patterns, and I definitely enjoy it a lot. So I do want to talk about, not only my version of it, but also the actual definition of it. So I always just kind of like looking at Investopedia to give you guys a good example of it, but then I do want to break it down into kind of Dekmar trades examples as well. So awesome pattern right here. Let's just look at really quickly the description on Investopedia. So what is an ascending triangle breakout? An ascending triangle is a bullish chart pattern used in technical analysis that is easily recognizable by the distinct shape created by two trend lines. In an ascending triangle, one trend line is drawn horizontally at a level that historically prevented the price from heading higher, while the second trend line connects a series of increasing troughs. Traders enter into long positions, which is buying low, selling high, again, buy and sell, when the price of the asset breaks above the resistance. The chart below is an example of an ascending triangle pattern, guys. And as you guys can see, here is the ascending triangle pattern. So let's break this down and let's figure out, what is the ascending triangle breakout pattern? How can we play it? Well, here is a perfect example on RTNB of the ascending triangle breakout pattern. Now, some of the things you guys need to know about the ascending triangle breakout pattern is that, one, it works best on top gainer stocks. So when a stock is a top gainer, when it has the mob, when it has activity, when it has volume, that is when the stock can work best. When it has the most volume, guys, because most volume means it's going to have the most orders. And when it has the most orders, it has the most momentum. And we have the most momentum, we can keep on running big and traders get excited. Because again, we'll be like, hey guys, stock coming up to $2 right here. We break $2, get ready for a big time rip. And everyone's like sitting on their hands, waiting for that $2 break of $2. Everyone's like, jeepers, mister, we're breaking $2. And everyone gets super excited. And the thing goes on massive climbs and massive rips. So RTNB right here, guys, this morning we had a very nice climb. We had a very nice rip. We had a higher low pattern, and that is how it starts, guys. So how do you start with an ascending triangle pattern? How do you figure out, there is an ascending triangle pattern? Well, if you guys have any sort of trade ideas or any sort of charting system, I want you guys to be able to always have the feature that you guys can draw in. Because when you guys can draw and you guys can make these lines, it makes it very visually easy. Again, no reason to complicate things, guys. No reason to get away from, keeping things simple. Sometimes people will say, oh, if you keep things simple, that means, it's obviously not that good. Some of the most simple things in the world, are some of the best things in the world, guys. We don't need everything to be advanced. We don't need to be taking astronomical physics to try to make a couple $100 in the market. If I see a triangle, I say, yay, triangle, and then I make money. We don't need any sort of, extreme algorithm to, make money in the market, guys. It's just about finding the best possible patterns. So how do these chart patterns start? How does the ascending triangle pattern, start off? It all starts with a higher low pattern. Now, a higher low pattern, guys, indicates that we have some sort of resistance at top. So if we start moving on up, we run up towards around 215 resistance. Now we start coming back on down. Now we don't know from right here that this is going to be an ascending triangle pattern. We can't tell that's going to be an ascending triangle pattern. What we need now is a run up again. So we need this stock to start running back on up. So we see again, this stock runs back on up. We get stuffed at 215. Now, this could have been a U-shaped breakout pattern. That does have potential to be a little bit of a U-shaped pattern, but we see that we get stuffed again at around this 210, 215 mark. So let's just put a resistance line because we know for a fact, that we have some sort of resistance line. We see that we have moved on up. We hit this 215, start coming back on down. We start moving on up. We had another upper shadow, start coming back on down. But now what can we see? Now what can we see right here is that we have a lower shadow here, we have a lower shadow here. This lower shadow is at 178, this lower shadow is at 182. That means this one is obviously higher than that one. All we have to do, guys, is just stick in some sort of trend line to make it very visually easy for us to say, hey, you know what? This looks like some sort of higher low pattern. As you guys can see at the bottom right here, how did I find this initial stock to start? I saw that this stock had higher lows. We have a lower shadow right here. The next day, the candle's a little higher. Next day, this candle's a little higher until we get this breakout. And that's what it really comes down to, guys, that you want to look for. Okay, we have resistance. We have resistance. Okay, when we came down this way, we have a higher low from last time. Now, if this stock just dumped on off, there's no pattern here. But we see that stock built some sort of higher low. That means there's more buyers than sellers. Because if there was more sellers, this thing would just dump on off. People are still wanting to consolidate this stock. Consolidation is healthy for plays, guys. And I know a lot of times traders look for big time rips and the stock starts falling and they're freaking out. They're saying, oh my God, everything's freaking out. Everyone's losing their mind right here. Guys, stocks will not go straight up forever. You're not going to get 100 green candles in a row without any sort of pullbacks. People will lock in money. People will lock in profit. But if the stock is strong, if the stock has a reason for going up, if the stock is building some sort of pattern, people will follow that pattern. And as you guys could see, people are going to follow that pattern and we are going to continue to move on up. Now, why do I teach you guys these plays? I teach you guys these plays because they are the most popular. So again, if you think about it, I'd like to think about like 80% of people know what's going on in the market. 80% of people, know what's going on in the market. We know that there's an ascending triangle pattern right here. There's probably about like 80% of people that are just like maybe let's say like average, like they're pretty good. They know what's going on. They know patterns. Then there's like 10% of people that know also, very more advanced patterns, full-time, traders that understand patterns very well. And then there's like 10% of traders that don't even know what's going on. They don't know if they're stock trading or if they're playing like Wii Sports right now. They're just completely lost. So, RTMB, what I want you guys to realize, though, is out of that, percentage I just said, 90% of people are going to understand the ascending triangle pattern. 90% of people are going to say, hey, I know this pattern. And I know when this pattern comes back up to the high of the day right here, we are going to be getting some sort of breakout. So again, people move stocks. No one else moves stocks. It's not like there's a natural force. It's not like, hey guys, we got a cold front coming from the Canada right now. Watch for this thing to come down to 150. It's not like that. People move stocks. So if everyone's on the same page and says, hey, you know what? This is an ascending triangle breakout pattern. What do you think is going to happen? The stock's going to get squeezed. We're going to come back up to the resistance line. People are like, hey, ascending triangle breakout. Let's buy right here. Okay, I'm buying. I want to get on the rip. Okay, so that guy's buying. Joe's buying. Mike's buying. Bailey's buying. Shannon's buying. Everyone's buying because they don't want to miss out on this rip, which leads the stock to breaking this resistance line and running up another 210 all the way up another 40 cents to 250 because of the ascending triangle breakout pattern. You have 40 cents. You're making another you have 40 cents on 1,000 shares. You're making an extra $500 right there. So again, an awesome pattern on RTMB right here, ascending triangle breakout pattern. Where else could we see some sort of higher lows? Higher lows are absolutely beautiful to see, guys, not only in the ascending triangle pattern right here, but also as you can see down here, way at the bottom right over here, we have RTMB, higher lows. As I said yesterday, we had some resistance at around this 125 mark. We started breaking that. Again, breaking through 150. We got a lot of big-time activity. This morning, what did we have? We just had some sort of resistance right at 130. It's not really a higher low pattern, maybe a little bit. But again, it's just, when we break through these resistance lines, that's where we get a lot of big-time rips. And what you always want to see is the stock building some sort of higher lows off some sort of top resistance. So we see that 130 was hit once, 130 was hit twice, 130 on the third time. Third time we get our breakout. And that's how ascending triangle patterns work. Most likely it's on the third or fourth time we get our breakouts. Because if a stock is going to hit resistance and come back up again and come back up again and possibly come back up again, traders are going to say, obviously this thing is not going down. It's not going down. We touched the high of the day once. We touched the high of the day twice. We bounced off support once, twice. It's not going down. It's obviously going up. I'm going to buy it. So again, we hit 130 once, you're not cracking. We hit 130 twice, not cracking. We hit 130 again, traders saying, hey, we've been holding this trend line nice, pushing on through. Okay, now we run up towards 215. Run up towards around this 215 once. Run up to 215 twice, building higher lows. Traders saying, hey, higher lows, 215 twice. Next time we come again, 215. We're getting that nice breakout all the way up to 250. So again, RTMB, very nice play. The best way to get these rips, guys, are from low float stocks. RTMB, as you guys can see, 5 million in float right now. 5 million in float. Lower the float, the better potential it has to go on a nice rip. And again, we always filter out the best plays for you guys as possible. As we always say, you know, the stocks with the lowest floats, any stock in blue that comes up on our scanners are stocks that have the best potential to rip. So RTMB, awesome rip. Let's look at the lowest float stock, IMUC. Nice potential to rip right now, or right there. You can see, you know, great chart pattern in the past. MTBC, great chart pattern in the past, 4 million float. MOSY, let's look right here. MOSY, 5 million in float and a very nice rip. RTMB, 5 million in float, which got the very nice rip today. Again, I like to filter these out for you guys to make things as easy as possible for you guys to make as much money as you guys can in a very visually easy aspect. So again, RTMB, awesome job right there. Let's get back to some other examples on these triangle patterns. Now, again, I've showed you guys these examples in the past. I think they're very good examples, and they definitely can help you guys kind of just figure out, hey, you know what? Okay, I understand them a little bit better. You know, here's a small example on an ascending triangle breakout pattern. It all starts with higher low patterns being formed. Higher low patterns are starting to be formed. We have our resistance that was set in the past. This is on the daily chart, and as you guys can see, once we break our resistance that was set in the past, that is when we start moving on in. Volume keeps pushing on up. A little bit of an example, kind of the same exact thing. If we go right here at that 150, you know, both on the daily chart right here, we have our bottom shadow right here, which is at 150. And again, you could see it bounced off 150. We come right here yesterday, we hit 150 and fell. Higher low pattern, break of 150. Look at all the volume coming on in and pushing the stock on up. So that's again on the daily chart, so you guys could see that. Let's keep on moving over on a couple more of these plays. See what else we have. Here's a nice example. Let me go back real quick. DRYS. Again, we have our top resistance set around 185. Hit 185 again. Hit 185 again. Fourth time the charm. After building this nice line up, watch for a volume to come in. Watch for a volume to come in. That's when we get our nice breakout. That's when we get our nice run. Here, again, on the daily chart right here. Nice resistance is set at around 65 cents, 65, 60, or 65, 65, 65, 65. Higher lows start forming. Once higher lows start forming, the triangle is being squeezed. Again, guys, imagine just a triangle squeezing. When you squeeze something, it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter until we get that nice pop. You know, imagine just having a whole bunch of crazy, let's say, you know, just I think of the example, I've told you guys this in the past before. The example, you know, you throw a bouncy ball in the air. You throw a bouncy ball straight up in the air, and then right when it lands, let's say you like put like a piece of cardboard or a piece of wood like right over top of it when it lands. Before, we had a lot of friction that it could bounce up and down. But when you put a top on it, that friction is going to bounce back and forth like crazy. Like it'll hit the ground, hit the piece of wood, go right back to the ground, piece of wood. So instead of going boink, 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 you put that little roof on it. It's going, you know, very crazy. And that's exactly what's basically going on right here. Bouncy ball, throw it in the air. Okay, we come all the way back down. Boink, boink. Boink. Okay, now we're building higher lows, so now we're getting like craziness, and then poop, you know, it just shoots on up after we break that wood. So again, when you squeeze something, same thing squeezing a balloon, we're going to get that pop. We're going to get that rip after it breaks, after we get that rip, after all that energy and friction breaks out of the top, you know, that's when the thing's going to be taking on off. Again, another example for you guys right here, just so you guys could see it. Higher lows formed, resistance is set, volume comes in, we get our nice breakout. We get our very nice rip. Same thing, guys. Higher lows being formed. Resistance is set once, twice, 3 times the charm. Get our nice rip. Dollar spike right here. And again, guys, as you guys can tell, these are all stocks that were already kind of the big Bertha of the day. These were stocks that were already the hot plays of the day. These were stocks that already had all the hype, all the momentum, all the volume. These were stocks that definitely got a lot of, you know, big attention towards them throughout the day as the day already started and traders were already looking at them. Like RTMB, we nailed it this morning. Again, RTMB this morning, this big rip started at 130. So this big rip started at 130. The descending or the ascending triangle breakout pattern didn't start up till around that 210 mark. Personally, again, as we already did, we alerted the stock at 135. and that's when we had some awesome profits on this play. So again, we had awesome profits on this play. Again, I had a $1,100 profit on this play from getting it at 135. But our other alerts were also at the break of this ascending triangle breakout pattern that we said, hey, watch for this ascending triangle breakout, third time's the charm. When we break 215, watch for the run all the way up to 250. So as you guys can see, excuse me, guys, as you guys can see, it's a very common pattern. It gets a lot of big time rips. I showed you guys Investopedia. You guys can also look at stockcharts.com. You can see the ascending triangle pattern. Here's a nice little example of it as well. This is more on the daily chart. They're showing an ascending triangle pattern. What we have right here is on the 1 minute chart. And they are, a little bit different, but it's still the main concept. The main concept is that you're still having, the bouncy ball syndrome. As the stock is getting higher, the floor is coming on up, and the friction and energy is building on up until we get that pop, we get that explosion, we get that move. So again, the ascending triangle pattern, an awesome pattern. Here's a nice little breakdown right here. And again, this is talking about a daily chart, and this is a little bit more pricier. Now, again, I focus on penny stocks. I'm focusing on stocks between 25 cents and $25 usually. These may take a little bit longer, but as you guys can see, the trend, in order to qualify as a continuation pattern, an established trend should exist. The trend is right here, this blue line. So again, we have a nice blue line. That's the trend as it's holding up, building higher lows. Top horizontal line, at least two reaction highs are formed. So here's one, here's two, and now you can see 3, 4, 5, then it got a nice break. Lower ascending triangle line. This is where down here they're looking for volume. I really don't look at this for the volume, but again, volume does fade, and as you can see, once it breaks, that's where volume comes on in. Duration, this all depends. Again, for penny stocks, it's within the day. If you're looking at larger stocks, it could be 1 to 3 months. Volume, as you can see, when volume breaks, we get the nice big run, and then return to breakout and target. So again, we get our nice big breakout, we get our nice big run, we return to the break, and then we got our nice target all the way up at 33 cents. So again, a lot of, big time potential right there. Last little thing that I want you guys to be aware of, if you guys are looking for stocks, on the daily, on let's say the 1 minute chart, let's say, you have to just be studying these patterns. You have to be ready for them. You have to be ready for them each day. That you guys could say, hey, you know what, RTMB setting itself on a 1 minute chart, ascending triangle pattern. Let's get ready for a nice big breakout team. If you want something a little bit slower, you guys can always do scans. Again, nice free website is finviz.com. And you guys can always click down here, triangle ascending. So triangle ascending, and you guys can start getting these, ascending triangle breakout patterns. Now, again, these are a lot more expensive. They're a lot more pricier than what I usually play. But at the same time, guys, it is nice for Finviz just to kind of give you a little bit of a heads up of some patterns that may be starting to get squeezed. Like right here, you can see nice pattern, break up to $27, could get a nice rip. That, these patterns have, good potential to be squeezed in the near future if you are maybe looking for something a little bit more long term. Just want to help you guys out right there so you guys understand that. But other than that, that is the ascending triangle breakout pattern. I want to make sure that you guys are set, ready to rock and roll. We have about 5 to 6 other patterns I want to go over in the future, but that's the first one to really kick off this nice little list for you guys to make sure you guys are understanding, day trading. You guys are understanding how to grow your small accounts. You guys are understanding the penny stock world, and you guys are understanding how to be a consistent trader, a profitable trader, and how to predict the market. So again, awesome job, and I look forward to going over these other patterns with you in the near future.